My name is Margaret Davis. I'm 87 years old and I was diagnosed with osteoporosis 19 years ago. I had very severe upper back pain and the doctor couldn't find out what was causing it, my GP. He asked me if I had ever been told I had osteoporosis. I had been in a motor accident 2 years previously, and the last time I saw the doctor from the insurance company, he said there was small signs of osteoporosis, but nothing to worry about. So when the doctor, my GP, heard that, he immediately sent me off to be investigated, and it was found that I did have quite severe osteoporosis in my thoracic spine and had one, or I can't remember whether it was one or two, compression fractures of the vertebrae at that point. Looking back on it, I think I can date it back to when I bought my first computer. An old friend went, a male friend went with me to choose it, and we brought it back in his car and I helped him to carry it from the car to the house. And looking back on it, that was the only undue exertion, as I was aware of, around about that time. A couple of days later, I could hardly get out of bed in the morning for the pain in my back. Now, it hardly affects it at all. I occasionally get some back pain. But from time to time, I obviously foolishly lifted something heavy and lifted it the wrong way. The last couple of times, I'm fairly sure it was lifting my late husband's wheelchair in and out of the boot of the car. And the family immediately, after I crushed two vertebrae for the second time, said, right, no more lifting the wheelchair, which did limit our activities a bit. But to begin with, I was put on the hormone replacement therapy, and I was on that for a couple of years, and then I began to have bleeding, and I was overseas at the time and I just simply stopped it. And when I came back, I wasn't due to see the specialist for a week or two, so I waited till it was time to go. When I told him I'd been on no treatment for about 6 or 8 weeks, he was horrified and immediately started me on something else. I can't remember now what it was. But I was on that for some time, and then Fosamax came in and he put me on that. And then I moved from where I was living to where I'm living now and went to a different specialist, and she carried on with the same treatment. And then I was told about the newly developed injection treatment, which meant an injection every day for 18 months, which was apparently quite a breakthrough. But it was very, very expensive. And I said, well, I can't afford that sort of money, perhaps if it was life-threatening. And the specialist jumped on me and said, osteoporosis can be life-threatening. And I was duly rebuffed and thought a bit more about it and realised that she was quite right. Obviously, it's her specialty. But since the last very bad episode 6 years ago, when I did crushed these two vertebrae for the second time, and I have incidentally lost 5 inches in height, and that's the thing I resent most. I don't like being little. Apart from that, I've really had very little problem in the last 6 years, but I am very conscientious about taking my Fosamax once a week, which is a help now that it's weekly, not daily, and my Caltrate every day, and making sure that my diet has plenty of milk and cheese and yogurt. And I'm really, for my age, I'm really quite relatively fit. And I also try to keep up my exercise routine because I think that's important. I do Tai Chi, and I walk, I do one or the other, sometimes both every day.
Wow.
Try to keep myself active, which I think is very important. I've had 5 compression fractures in my thoracic spine altogether. 2 of them I have done twice, and that was very painful and lasted for a long time, months. The doctors tend to tell you that the pain in spinal fractures is over in 6 weeks. Well, it isn't, not always by any means. I'm just now very careful about not lifting any weights, and I take my medication regularly and keep myself active.